So let's start at the end and work our way backwards. Franke and De La Fuente Abogados. I get where the Franke comes from. What's the story with the and De La Fuente part of this?
Well, De La Fuente's are my partners. So his brothers, Miguel Ángel De La Fuente and Julián De La Fuente. No, and I met them actually. We moved down here 5 years ago with the family. Well, it's more than 5 years ago now. The whole family and the dogs, as many do
From Sweden.
from Sweden, came down. We were actually planning just to stay for a school semester, then move back again. I was just making some decisions on my future in Sweden. I was partner of a law firm. Should I open my own law firm or continue with the partnership that I had? So I was making decisions, but let's make that decision in Marbella, sort of thing. My wife is a doctor. She was able to take a few months off. No connection to Marbella whatsoever. I had one old friend working here, so we were looking for places where they had the Swedish school. So we just landed here.
They were about in Marbella. Don't tell me. Go into the field.
Did you mean the school or where you lived?
Yep, you guys.
That's the story with itself, actually, because we bought a house just 2 months after. And as it is sometimes, you would know, they promised us that we could move in maybe a month later. But of course, it took a year. And I counted, and I think, at least me, I lived in 13 different rentals during 13 months here. Yeah, we were everywhere. In La Heredian, we were in Dominion Beach, we were in San Pedro, we were here in Agua Pueblo. I've been everywhere.
So where are you now?
Now we're in San Pedro on the beach side.
Okay. Yeah. So you came here to think about what to do with your future. You decided to make this your future.
Yeah.
Was your plan to become a lawyer, start a law practice here straight away, or did you have different ideas?
I didn't have a clear plan, to be honest. I just had to work out step by step what I could do here, because it wasn't really clear to me. Because in Sweden, I was in criminal law, so I was working in the courts early on. The first steps of becoming a judge, actually, but I didn't continue. And then I was a prosecutor for 4 or 5 years, and then I was working mainly with criminal defense. So. And then, of course, I had other experiences. I was working with litigation, some business law as well, family law. But the last, I would say, 3-4 years, I was very specialized in criminal law. And I couldn't do that here. So I just had to find a new project, a new future. So I started out working as a real estate agent.
Okay.
As we do.
As you do.
Yeah.
As a Swedish real estate agent working in Marbella.
Correct. So I was first working for an international firm for 8 months, I think. And then I joined one of the bigger Swedish agencies here and worked with them, happy with them. And that gave me good insight to the main market, which of course is the real estate market. But I also quite early on started to realize the role of a lawyer in the transaction. I was introduced to a few lawyers that I was working with, and I just felt that maybe I can do something here, Not that I am an expert in real estate law, but I have always been interested in processes and not routines, but the actual work as a lawyer from a more, let's say, general perspective. I just felt I think I can do something here. But of course, I can't do it on my own. So it took me maybe 1.5 years, I think, and I met Miguel Ángel as a friend. He became my lawyer, and I was the agent, he was the lawyer. And he was amazing. First of all, he has superb knowledge. The guys are the sons of the notary here, actually, in Central Plaza. So they come from a family of lawyers, we would say. He actually also trained to become a notary. Later on, he decided to take the route to be a lawyer instead. But of course, that education gave him a lot of knowledge. Everything you need to know as a notary, he knows. And his brother Julián has been working in Marbella for a long time. So they had the experience, but we also shared the same values, I think, and the dedication and the workload. We don't mind working if we're really, really passionate if we have a passion for what we do. So I met them, and as I said, Miguel Ángel became my lawyer. And at some point we started to talk. Maybe we can do something together, and that's where it started now 2.5 years ago.
So now let's go back a little bit further. So you have 2 kids?
Yeah, correct.
Teenagers?
16, 13.
So you must be like 20, right?
Man, I'm back and forth to Puerto Banús picking up my son.
Right.
That's how it is.
So did they go to school here?
Yeah, we're totally integrated now, I think. It took a while. I think you shouldn't underestimate that it can take some time to, get accustomed to everything and find your own Marbella. Marbella has its own reputation, but really you can live many different lives here in Marbella. That's the thing. So we have to find, your spot, your friends, what you like, like your circle of interest. So now we really feel at home here now.
And is your wife, did she return to any sort of her origins of work with doctors and stuff like that, or?
She's doing that pro bono on the phone with friends and others, but no, she's not working as a doctor. She's a gynecologist,
right?
And her passion was to work with her hands. She would operations, surgeries, basically. And that is, of course, a pretty long process to be able to do the same here in Spain. So we're now both actually in the real estate business. Because the family has a business, her family has a business in Sweden in real estate for many, many years. And they have now found a few opportunities here in Marbella, as you do as well. So she's now involved in the family business.
So your background is law. You came here with your family to live here. Well, you came here to visit, but then you came here to visit. And you worked as an estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
Your friends were notary stroke lawyers.
Yeah.
So and your wife's family are in real estate as well.
Yeah.
So setting up and running a law firm serving mainly in the real estate sector was kind of a destiny, I presume.
Maybe,
Seems logical, right?
Yeah, I love being a criminal defense lawyer. I really enjoyed working with clients, and working on strategies, being in court, taking care of a case from the beginning to end. But that was me. I think the only thing that I really had a passion about in Sweden, it was being a criminal defense lawyer. So now that I can't do that, I have to find something else. And my new passion now is basically to together with all the fantastic team members, create the best law firm there is for foreign investments.
What is the essence of what makes you guys different in practice, as far from a real estate agent point of view, not from necessarily the customer point of view, which is obviously not my audience, my sphere or agents. What is it that the agent gets, or that you try to deliver different for the agent when you work with them versus what you experienced when you first came to Marbella?
When I was working as an agent, then you have a lot of course, you have so many contacts with buyers and customers. And what I realized, and they had different lawyers, but the main issue was always the same. They didn't connect well maybe with the lawyer. They didn't have that basic trust. The lawyer wasn't always available when they needed it. And they had to chase down the lawyer, and this created they became nervous and didn't feel secure about the whole transaction. So I had to deal with these customers instead. Of course, I was a lawyer, so maybe that's logical that they talked to me about legal stuff. But I just felt that maybe the soft values as a lawyer here weren't as prioritized as they should be. So we have built our routines and processes from the perspective of the agent and the buyer. So what is important? We have to first define what is important in a real estate transaction. First of all, when it comes to agents, you need to be available. So you can't have a Spanish lunch at 2:00 on a Friday and disappear. If an agent has a buyer, they're closing, they're negotiating, they need some kind of information about the property, or there's a contract that needs to be reviewed, they need to transfer some money to someone. Usually it goes very quickly also when you have a deal. The lawyer's job in that situation is to be available for the phone call of the agent. So, and this is what we say to everyone. If it's in the evening, if it's in the weekend, whatever it is, agents should be able to find us, and we should be able to help them. So its availability is absolutely key, I think. That was the case for me as an agent, at least. I wanted to close a transaction, and I couldn't do it because I needed something from the lawyer, and he wasn't there.
What about you then? So you must have some hobbies or something. What are you into? Let's find out Peter. We know about Peter, the myth and the legend, but what about the man?
I like to work. But it is true. I really like this job. So as I said, I love being a criminal defense lawyer, but what I'm doing now, I really love what I'm doing now. Not only finding the routines and performing the job and dealing with clients, etc., but to be able to build something together with people is an amazing thing. So I come to work every day with high energy. So when I get back, when I'm back home, I'm happy, petting my dogs, being with my family. I go for my kids' sport events. I see their games, etc. So I'm a family guy, and I think.
Okay. Well, Peter, thank you very much. Good to know.
Thank you.
So you're not a secret serial killer or ninja man or something.
Okay. Well, I was a punk rocker.
Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So
I have a couple of tattoos, and I was a punk rocker. I played in bands. As a singer and a guitarist.
You got the look, actually.
I can't. Oh well.
Did you used to have your way shaved, or?
I used to have longer hair, yeah, but this is easier for me.
So criminal lawyer, real estate agent, managing partner at a law firm in Marbella, 2 teenage kids, and
2 dogs.
2 dogs, and the next punk rocker.
The next punk rocker?
X,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Alfred.